Viewer discretion is advised.
I walk out and I say, I make a decision, I'm going to tell my wife. She looked at me like, with my eyes in tears, and I said, what's going on? And I said, I just can't do it anymore. And she said, for what? And then I said, there was something happened to me in Samoa that I was too afraid to tell you. So I told her.
Mandate.
Welcome to Mandate, where we navigate fresh perspectives and nothing is off the table. Tonight's guest is originally from Samoa, the beautiful island of Samoa, the Sacred Centre, 685 Samoa, but now resides in the Bay of Plenty. But also originally from Tamaki Makaurau. He is a man with an amazing journey, amazing story. He's the lead peer support worker for male survivors in Bay of Plenty. He also is a fitness and health coach. He's the founder of Better Lifestyle Fitness and also Break the Cycle. So please put your hands together for the Uso himself, the man, Uipo Tagaloasa.
Talo falava, alo ho soifua, whaftai hoi le tua mole awanoa, e umwhai e tatou talanoa nei tura fiafia. Yeah, just thank you to the Lord, for giving the opportunity to actually have a talanoa. Thank you so.
My Lord, so, and it is it's the same for us. We just real privileged and real honoured to have you here tonight. And so, before we kind of dive into the conversation, also, can you tell us a little bit about your role now? Because I remember you back in Otahuhu, and you did a lot of better lifestyle fitness. But now you're out in the Bay of Plenty. So tell us a bit about that journey from being in Tamaki Makaurau, but now being situated and located in the Bay of Plenty.
Yeah, it's been a journey, to be honest with you. I think it was the end of 2020, 2021, with all the COVID. The gym had a bit of a challenging time there, but then my wife actually diagnosed with brain tumor, and that was the last call of us, I guess we're gonna talk about it later, and the journey that was my wife. My wife was the one that actually accepted me, who I was, telling my abuse and what happened to me. So when she told me about the result of the scan, I gave her a hug and I said, we're gonna sell the business and make a move to for her to spend time with the kids, and something that's really a bit quiet, from Auckland. So yeah, we make the decision then that we're gonna move out. So didn't really have any plan, to be honest. We actually just sold everything. I didn't have any work, but was pretty much coming from Samoa, I have a lot of faith. I went back into my faith. I said to my wife, we're going to give it to the Lord and see what He's going to provide for us down there. And it was the same month that we were planning to move down. Actually, got a phone call from one of the colleagues from Taranaki. And he asked me to check how the business, and I told him that we're moving down to Tauranga. And he said, are you serious? And I said, yeah. We're moving down, and I say, bro, can you give Bruce a call? They're actually looking for somebody down there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, call him, and then I applied for the job, got an interview, moved down the same week that I start working for Male Survivors Bay of Plenty.
Man, bro.
Just blessing, to be honest.
Jeez.
Man, straight into it. And, you mentioned your faith there. Does your wife share your faith? Or if she doesn't, how has that been sort of trying to get her to see your perspective on faith?
Yeah, it was quite interesting journey, because my wife's European. And I guess, she got baptized, but she never went into church or explored the Bible and everything like that. So she never really. It was challenging for me, in there. I went away from it for a while. I guess I went into looking the Kiwi way, and I was thinking, this is the way, and even going into business, I thought, you know, that was the way. But then I think when I came back from Samoa, I was telling the brother here, doing all my paperwork, my wife told me that the doctor actually told her that she can't have kids when she was 18. So from there, I got really angry because back in Samoa, you know, when a family have kids, you know, as a gift from God, you know. So I told her that no one's going to tell me that we can't have kids. If the Lord will bless us with kids, you know, we will have kids. And I think from there we did, and then we tried it, and then we went into foster parents for 7 years. We had 2 boys in our care, and then from foster parents we adopted my my younger brother, sorry. And then after that we tried at IVF. We got lucky with one, our oldest girl, one cycle, and then the second one was 1 year apart, was natural. And I guess, you know, go back into your question about faith, how my wife there. So all that time until, you know, when she told me about the result of the scan, I reminded her, remember what happened to us. And when I said to you, so it's funny enough, like, you know, when we up here, we used to go to Life Church up here. But because of the confused, like the Samoan language, she was kind of confused about, you know, how can I fully understand about the faith. But when we moved down to Tauranga, we connect with the European church. And I went in one Sunday and then invited her to come in the following Sunday. And she was just like, wow. There's actually European church. So she's now fully understand. She's learning, and I guess, like, you know, with everything that we went through, she's now accepted that, you know, it is faith that got us this far.
Beautiful.
That's awesome.
Man, life hasn't been really. Hasn't been a bit of roses. Like you said,
yeah,
some real, like, some heartbreaking stuff with your wife and her brain tumor. Then, obviously, in the beginning, from coming from Samoa to New Zealand and kind of getting used to the culture here.
Yeah, I guess, like, you know, I didn't really thought about that way. Like, you know, I thought, you know, at the beginning, I took a blame. I blame a lot of my dad for not being there, because I never had a dad. You know, my dad passed away before I was born. You know, same year but different month. He passed away in March, and I was born in October in the same year. So I never had a dad in my life. I guess my granddad was pretty much my father figures, and all my other uncles. And then, rugby was pretty much kind of means in my life, you know, just knowing how they talk and how they do life. So that's how I learned, you know, to be a man, really. But yeah, it's been a journey, to be honest.
Yeah. Also.
But if I look back now, you know, I can see the reason why I went through the journey. And that was the reason why I reach out. You know, I would love to share, because I know there's a lot of our not only for our means that move from Samoa to here, but also seeing the relationship of our means that were born here, that were Samoan born here, their fathers that were born and raised in Samoa move here. There's their relationship and how it impact them. It's just. We just can't, I guess, like, for me, I can't just carry on with my life and not to share, and hopefully that I can help one Samoan or Pacific Island brothers out there to, you know, with their journey. So
It's good, man. Wow,
It's good also. Are you able to share about some of that stuff that really impacted your journey?
yeah, I never ever thought, you know, being in Samoa, I never thought that sexually abuse was a thing. But I think when we had our own kids, it's our foster boys that actually bring a lot of memories. You know, and during that time, I was slowly giving up in rugby. I was getting getting old, and then bringing the boys in our home, I realized the life that they used to live, moving from home to home. That's exactly how I was, like, without a father, without, having somebody to go to, and talk about things that happen. It's bringing a lot of memories into me. So, and then I start struggling with pornography. I didn't know why I was doing it. My wife actually caught me, being a Samoan, thinking that if you're watching on a laptop, no one's gonna know. But then my wife go through the history. Yeah, and I was like, I got really angry and defensive, like, what, I didn't do it.
The foster boys,
No. Well, I didn't want to blame on them, because it's part of our job to keep them safe, and then you say, well, just nobody else that go on the laptop is huge. So it costs a lot of, but then one of the things that I used to do as well is being dreams, bad dreams. I didn't know where it comes from, being dreams about, things that happened to me, and then I end up, wet the bed as an adult, and I used to hide from my wife, and one night got caught. And then my wife asked me, what happened? And I said, I just wet the bed. I'm sorry, I don't know, I just had a bad dream. But I never thought, But I think it was 2017, we had the gym then. We've sorted everything. I was sitting in the office, and things was really tough. Had a business, and I thought, everything's, and then it was before Christmas. We had a bit of an argument with my wife, and I think it was the stress of getting the presents and things like that. And then my wife actually, we sat down, and she said to me, she was really angry. She said, if there's something going on that you really want to sort it out, if it's us, please tell us. Or, if you want to walk away, then go away, because this is actually affecting us. If not talking to us, when you get angry, you just take off. And she was swearing, like, for the first time I hear her, like, swearing, saying the F word, like, and I say, wow, there's something that's actually going on here. So my thought of sorting out what was going on is going back home and retaliate and take a revenge. I was thought to ask somebody to pay an airfare and go back and kill the guy that actually done it to me. But that was my thought of thinking, that's what she's asking me to do, is to sort things out. But I never told her what has actually happened. But going through that plan, I realized, in the computer was my girl's photos was on there, and then on the wall, it's my foster boys' photos on the wall. So those photos actually gave me a lot of memories of, if you go back home and do what you're going to do, what it likes growing up without a dad. You're going to put these girls through what you went through. If you go back home, whatever you're going to do, you're probably going to end up in jail or even kill yourself. And then these girls going to grow up without you. And it's going to have an impact into my village, my family, my siblings, and then especially for my wife and my girls. So yeah, that was I guess, like, for me, was, what am I going to do then? Am I going to tell my wife, or am I actually going to run away and continue with the plan? I was in tears. I walk out and I say, I make a decision, I'm going to tell my wife. And that's what I said, when I walk out and my wife said to me, she looked at me like, with my eyes in tears, and I said, what's going on? And I said, I just can't do it anymore. And she said, for what? And then I said, there was something happened to me in Samoa that I was too afraid to tell you what was going on. And I said, what happened? So I told her, it's actually, I never thought that it was a sexually abuse. I thought, maybe that was normal back home, but then I look at it now with, the boys that we had, and it's being, really, I've been really trouble. I've been really struggle with it, that I never agreed, and it was never something that I did want it. I didn't enjoy it. And it's been really making me angry, And then she gave me a cuddle, she gave me a hug. It's probably the first time I feel, love, Dad's never there. He was never getting that cuddle from Dad and a hug, and say, I love you, And she said, I love you, but we were going to get some help for you. And it was the beginning of the healing journey from there. But yeah, man, it's been really tough. Thinking about our culture, thinking about our religions, our faith, I guess, the ma, and one of the things I get really struggle with is, how can I tell my family? Because I knew then they'll either mock me, they'll either make fun of me, or they'll cut me off. But yeah, I guess going back, it was my faith that actually pushed me through. Because there's no any other way. I realized there's no any other way. If everybody else cut me off, if I can save my girls and my wife, I guess that's all that matter, Thank you to the Lord that didn't happen. My siblings still stand by me, and we still have a good relationship. But yeah, just.
Yeah, that's powerful. Powerful.
Because it's not like something that you just it's not something that happened years ago in terms of the healing journey. It's just recently that you're still going through it.
Yeah.
And what has it been like? Because you don't need to share details, and we don't need to know. But was the perpetrator a family member or just someone that was close to the family?
No, so the perpetrator was a family, not really family related. It was someone that I guess was kind of trusted around the family, doing all the jobs, and back in Samoa, everyone is kind of go into each other's house, and you don't really ask, you don't really worry that these things happen. Everybody's when the boys sleep, we're fale moe, everyone sleep together, and and things like that. No one's really talk about these things, that these things it's never happened, And I guess I'm hoping that now that we're starting to come forward, just encouraging our whoever that's struggle with it, and knowing that if these things happen, yes, it did happen, and you don't have to, I guess, to suppress them or hide them, because it's really common. What we find with what I'm doing now is it takes 20 to 40 years for a man to actually disclose. Wow. And it really, it is true. With the means that I'm now working with, I mean, it takes me 35 years of, of my life, trying to figure out what is actually going on. So some of the men that I'm working with now, some of them say there's 25 years, 36 years of struggling, drugs, alcohol, or even separation from their families. And it got to a point, they had enough. They can't hide it. They know they can't run away from it. They just, they have to find some help. And I was, really grateful that we have what we have now, and hopefully that it's getting out there for our men to, come forward and get some help.
It's good also. A little lover for your strength and courage, because it's not common, especially for our Samoan men and islands. That's stuff you don't talk about, and even if you do end up sharing about it, they'll say, "Why you say that for? Do you hate our family?" And for you to come out like what? Like it must have taken you a lot of strength and courage.
I was really blessed that when me and my wife went to the doctor and asked for help, the doctor said we've got a psychologist that actually come here every Thursday. Would you like to see her? And I say yeah. Oh, and then he said there's two of them. There's one Samoan and another one is European. Would you like which one would you comfortable or prefer? And I say Samoan lady. Yeah, I have to say, in the beginning of the journey, having her at being a Samoan and understand where we come from, man, it really helped me. Like, it was just allowing me to cry in a room like a baby. And she was able to give me a hug, and because I didn't, I don't know if any of you go into a psychologist or even know what psychologist is all about. I didn't know what it's all about, because I thought when we went to the doctor, I thought, okay, maybe gonna give me some pills and take all these thoughts and all these, and but then when he said about psychologists and he say, psychologists. So after that appointment, I went home. We went, and then I done a bit of a Google. Say what is psychologist, and then it was all about sharing and talk about what's actually going on. So I believe there's not a lot of our means that actually, I guess, know there is help. And I guess for psychologists or counselling, but now we have the peer support, which is there is a different for those therapies. So it's which is I'm gonna look now like the European means, I guess, like they, for them, that's their therapy. They go to the 101 with a psychologist and counselling, but for us, we don't really. We get the old broom or get done already. You don't talk about those things or even just joke about it.
So true.
We just laugh about it. Just joke.
We do,
This brother here had a sleepover with, Yeah. That's.
But how's it been, Uipo, in terms of your role now as the lead peer support worker? Like, surely there's a lot of men you feel like you've kind of put some light to their lives, or kind of some healing as well.
Oh, it's been amazing. It's been amazing journey because moving down there, I was also had a fear of new town and not knowing anybody, and also being Samoa going into Rotorua, because we cover the whole of Bear Plenty. I was thinking, what am I going to do with the Maori brothers? I don't speak Maori, and what do I need to do? But again, I was thinking. All I was thinking about is, if this is the calling from from God for me to share and help these men to share my story or my experience, then this is it. It's going to motivate me to actually meet, even if it's uncomfortable. Amazingly, I think at the moment I've got 25 men on my caseload, that come forward. But through the service alone, because the service has been going for almost 3 years now. There's like 100 means that came through.
So powerful.
Yeah, so 100 means that came through in the service. So there's also I think the brother Sam also shared that 1 in 6 means that experience some form of sexual violence before they turn 18. So it's to go back into your question as being really I guess fulfilling. I guess it's rewarding. Yeah, it's been really rewarding journey. Even though sometimes it is tiring. Listening to some of the means, because similar stories, some of them are a lot heavier than others. But yeah, it's been really rewarding.
Yeah, man.
Also, are you able to explain to us what peer support is? Because people might not know the difference between counseling, psychiatrists, and peer support.
Yeah. So it was funny, I asked that question in our last meeting. I said, what is peer support? What's the difference of peer support and actually counselling? So, and then I realised that counselling is actually in the room, in the 4 walls, 1 hour, and once you're 1 hour finished, you're finished, you're done for the day, and it's all about the client. The peer support is a lot more freedom. I can take them out for coffee. I can take them to do some exercise. I can take them out for fishing, or even just walking. In the ways that we make it, peer support is making it a lot easier for our means to communicate while we're doing things that they feel comfortable of not sitting in the room with them. So yeah, hopefully that helped.
And I guess with peer support too, a lot of the peer support workers have experienced what a lot of the clients are going through themselves.
So that's one of the policy of organization is having somebody that have been through themselves, have the experience, and also done healings themselves. Because one thing is you're going through, have the experience, but if they haven't done that work themselves, then it's going to be a bit of a struggle to hear and work with somebody that's going through the healing journey as well. So, and the brother Sam, is actually going to become a he's going to do some volunteering work for us. So yeah, it's
Sam.
Again, that's another win for what we do. So
wow, that's good, man. That's awesome. It almost, like when I think about your journey as a father as well as your journey to heal, I'm kind of think about your role as a father and how you have those conversations. You mentioned the conversation with your wife, but also those conversations with your children and safeguarding them, because I suppose excuse me, that's also a part of breaking the cycle, is being able to empower your children so they're able to protect themselves, because obviously as parents, we can't always be there with them every second of the day. So how has that journey been for you in terms of safeguarding your children and helping them be a bit aware about the dangers and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I was thinking about, us in the islands, we don't really talk about, private parts and these other things that, you shouldn't be doing. And, we just want them to be successful and things like that. But throughout my journey, I realized that these conversations are actually very important. And I think as young as they are, because see, most of the story that I'm now hearing is like from 5 years old, some of them 3 years old. So like it goes all the way down. So I think most of the time that we hear, we heard from parents saying, "Oh, don't talk about those things. They're too young. They don't know about those things." But if we don't talk to them and actually how they can protect themselves and who they go to when these things happen, then our kids will, they won't go to anyone. They don't know what to do.
Cycle, hey?
Yeah, to actually break that cycle, and yeah, I think like it is getting easier now to actually having that conversation with them. But yeah, the beginning was find it really awkward, because we don't really talk about it, these things.
Yeah.
You're right, because we don't, especially as Pacific Islanders and more so Samoans, the birds and the bees, you don't talk about all that stuff with your kids, or we're used to our parents kind of sharing those kind of conversations. But for you now, like Jamin was saying, that it's kind of giving you a new perspective. You feel more free to
share with them, and knowing that we're educating, we're educating them. How to keep themselves safe, who will they need to tell if there's any of these body parts that's being pleased to tell us. So yeah, it's being I guess new, but I feel I guess give a bit of a confidence that our girls kind of come to me when these things, whatever, because you are right, we don't stay with them 24/7. They get to school, they're gonna have friends that they want to go and stay with. They're gonna want to go and do things by themselves, but at least they know this is right, this is not right. I've got to have to tell somebody.
So good also, man.
It's interesting how you, Paul, because I know you're a godly man, and your faith is instrumental in terms of who you are. And I remember talking to Sam about this. I think I was dropping him off to his hotel, and I asked him, "Hey, how about forgiveness? Or did we talk about forgiveness? I think we did.
Yeah, like
We
can
did,
you ever
yeah.
truly forgive?
And so, for you being a believer and a Christian, how was it for you? Were you able to forgive this individual, or you still finding? Obviously, you're still finding it hard, or has there been some sort of?
Yeah, it's funny, like with those one that what I picked up now is for those one that have no belief, or maybe they don't believe, they don't have any faith for spiritual belief, I guess. Forgiveness is a really struggle for them, but for my journey is I have to be really honest, and for any of our brothers out there that struggle with, if they want that healings, and if they can do one thing from this conversation, is forgiving. It was probably the number one things that set me free, and it was from the book Forgive to Live. It was a book that called Forgive to Live, and I didn't even read half of it. It was only like a couple of pages that it was one of the counselor that actually gave it to me. I read a couple of pages and I realized, and I say, man, I actually need to forgive the person that actually done it to me, and I also have to forgive myself of, and then I go back into my faith, realize that what I was taught, Jesus died for me and forgive our sin and all that. I was like, okay, so this makes sense. So yeah, I wrote a kind of little note on my phone for the person that actually done it to me. I never get to send it to him, but in the form of I get to read it. So every now and again, I also got a photo of him on my phone, in a way that the journeys never stop. It's you hear people say forgive and forget. You never forget.
Yeah,
you won't forget. And the journeys, it doesn't stop there. And I think I posted one of the things on this week was the healing. The healing is a journey. It's not a one-off session or something like that. Because sometimes when they do one session and they feel, oh yeah, I've done it. I can promise that it doesn't stop there. So I carry that photos with me. and sometimes taking the time off to acknowledge, and also, I forgive you, but I forgive you. I forgive what you have done for me. Almost sad. It makes me sad, make me angry sometimes. But it really teach me how to deal with my emotions. When I get angry, you get sad. Allow myself to be sad and be angry, but it's also knowing that I don't have to stay there. Jesus is already he's already forgiven. I've got to give it to him. He's the one that's gonna do the judgment for one day. I've got to have to live what is. So it's definitely, I hold nothing to this brother here that done it. So
man, you're a better man than I am, man, bro. Bro, for you saying that, for me, I was like, man, that's quite peculiar that you hold us, take a photo of him, and I was like, but man.
But it is challenging. We know we all have what is it called? Monster in us. And those are the things that trouble us. When this things, if we hold on to it, I guess, it will soon come out, and it's not gonna come out to the person that actually done it, but it's gonna go into somebody that actually you love, our loved ones. So it's sad, but I guess that's the outcome.
Wow. Well said, also. Man,
And it's awesome to see. Like, I just want to acknowledge just how awesome it is to see, like, you have such a positive and calm demeanor about you for someone who's has obviously gone through such a traumatic experience. And it's really aspirational, because I think there's a lot of people who struggle. And you're right, the healing is a journey. And every day when you go through something traumatic like that, you have days where it just plays on your mind and you can't escape it. And other days you're fine. And some you don't get to choose what days are good and which days are bad, but it's cool to see that you can choose how you respond to it. So I just wanted to give you props for that. One of the things that I saw that you're doing this really interesting challenge, a Mount Everest challenge. And I thought, I wanted to ask, what's the importance of finding a mountain to climb? Because I feel like symbolically you're doing this challenge, but I think sometimes people need something to challenge them, and sometimes that helps them sort of overcome some of those traumatic things. It doesn't heal them completely, but it can help sometimes. So how's that journey been for you, and what do you think is the importance for people to find a mountain to climb?
I think it's when we go through and trauma in our life, we've been running that, I guess I call it the system, over and over. We get used to it. Sometimes we just close our eyes and do it, because it's automatically, 30, 40 years of life living that journey. But I think finding that mountain to climb and knowing that, this is what I want to get to, this is where I want to get to, is it's giving another purpose for them, something that they know it's outside of what their normal routine that they normally do. So yeah, and that's it, for the Mount Everest challenge and down in Mount Manganui. I guess, like me being new down in Bay of Plenty, nobody actually know me down there. Yes, we have male survivors over there, but it's also really it's still closed door, So I guess it's getting our name out there into the, hey, you can come and climb. You don't have to disclose anything over there. You just come and join us. Encouraging some of our men that still sitting on the side, or maybe 50-50, one leg's there and one leg's, you can still do it. You can, no matter how hard it is, no matter how challenging it is, it's possible to actually come forward. So yeah,
That's awesome.
just grateful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, also back to your kids. Do you allow your kids to go sleep over people's houses or?
I used to be really struggle with it in the beginning, including my own brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And but my wife actually talked to me and they say, you realize that your girls is always asked to go and stay at their auntie, your sister. But just thinking about, the relationship that they're gonna miss out from having that relationship with them. And I think we have to be, talking to them and be confident that we actually taught them. And then I talked to my sister about what actually happened. I think it's kind of open, knowing, understanding that, if these things happen, please, I'll be really, disappointed. So yeah, we do allow to my sister and my brother, but anywhere else, it's not.
Yeah.
Because you gotta be at peace, have that peace of mind there. If you've been, because I only ask because there's a guy called Matt Brown who's quite influential in this space, and he's just speaking about he does never let his girls or kids go sleep over, and just because of that fact. But then his daughter used to always get angry at him, and it wasn't until she was 18, and on the 18th birthday, he asked her, "What do you want?" She goes, "I want to sleep over," and they let her. But then she came back and said, "Man, I used to be angry at you, but I'm so grateful that you did keep me at home, because all her friends, they end up sharing that they had, most of them being abused."
Wow.
When they did sleepovers. So, sometimes it's some of the choices we make for our kids, they don't understand, and we feel like we're prohibiting them. But in that case, it was like something that she was blessed by later on. And I think for our parent, or for people that are watching, like, how important it is to know where our children are going.
Yeah.
The environments that they're going into, and just, man, because we just never know, you just never know what our kids might be carrying and who might be around. So these conversations are good, and just to hear you, it's like, oh, only my sister and my brother. It's like, oh, yeah.
One of the things that I also do with our girls is to ask their friends to meet them. And then kind of get to know their friends. Like, I ask just simple question, who's at home? Who's living at home? Mum and dad, as mum and dad together. And some of them quite sad as mum and my stepdad, or just mum, which is kind of give a bit of a idea, okay, what's kind of, it's not, just, I hate to say, the judgment around it, but, it's to be aware, who am I actually giving my kids into, to hang out or hang around with. It's just have I guess it's call it away, just talk with them.
It's good.
Man, what do you think also? You think some of these perpetrators and these predators, do you think it's more becoming more prevalent now, more accessible to these guys who are going and doing these things to the likes of other kids or even young adults? What do you think about those? How easy it is nowadays? Do you think it's just become more accessible for these guys?
Yeah,
these people?
I think one of the things that we also talk about in our work is if our means or anybody not talking about it, it will make it a lot easier for these guys to continue with their journey, because as an example, if an uncle done something to the nephew, and the nephew's actually hasn't come forward or talk about it, then the uncles is more likely thinking, it's okay for me to continue that journey, because he doesn't know. So yeah, it's and I guess, for the social media, with accessible, for the perpetrator to reach, and I guess with our us parents as being busy, with our work and other part of our life, we don't really kind of having time with them. So yeah, I believe it is, but this is part of the journey, is to be able to encourage someone, victims out there to come forward. This is part of it, is to be able to, how can we then start to make it difficult with these guys, that's to continue that journey.
That's good, man. Scary thought, eh?
And that makes it interesting, just thinking about, before we talked about forgiveness and, forgive and forget. And I suppose thinking about the need for consequences or some sort of deterrent, talking about it means that people are more aware, and that means that hopefully it happens less. But also there must be, just thinking of like that whole mercy versus justice. And how sometimes, even though maybe revenge is not the right consequence for it, it is important. It is important, right, that there is some consequence, not going through in revenge like murder or anything extreme like that, but they should at least be made known. The perpetrators should be at least made known that they have done something wrong, because you've sort of had me see that maybe some of them don't even realize that it's wrong, because either maybe it's happened to them and nothing happened and they think it's normal, so they go ahead and become perpetrators, not realizing that actually, hey, this is damaging someone else. So it's just really interesting to think about all the different variables, because every situation and scenario is different. So it's really made me think there about what is the right course of action. And
it's, there is no, because each one of us have different ways of healings in our journey. Some of them, they want them to get locked up, or some of them they want to go to court, to actually, get it out there. Some of them, they in peace with, like, I forgive you, it's okay, and from my heart, and I'll forgive you. So yeah, it is no each one of victims out there that will have their own ways of how they can. But what I think one of the things that we do have to remember, and I do have to remember, is, I guess I don't know if it's the right word or not, because it's not whatever gonna happen to the perpetrator is none of that's gonna bring back what happened to the past. But if your heart, because some of them they get locked up, but your heart is still you still have a broken heart, right? Your soul is still not there. So I think if your heart is in the right place and okay, I forgive you, then whatever happened to the perpetrator, it's.
There should be consequences for the perpetrator in terms of like it stop happening to others. Because I feel like it's all good to forgive someone, but like if they carry on that same behavior, then it's allowing them to someone else is gonna go through the trauma. So that's a big part of our encouragement for our tane, is to encouraging them. That's good.
To talk to the family, because some of them, so they're family members, but they don't want to talk to them because or let anybody know, because they're gonna break their family apart. So that's hard, because if you don't come forward and do something about it, that person is gonna do to somebody else, maybe your cousin or maybe another cousin and somebody else. So, and we know that if a perpetrator done once, it's more likely is gonna do it again. So I think when we look at it, I think it's up to 50, the ripple effect. Because somebody here, it could happen into somebody else. So it's just out of it, eh? Like, when we actually look at the numbers and look at it and say, wow.
It's alarming stats, man.
should
Wow.
like go live and sorry.
That's alarming, Uipo. Jeez.
Damn.
Man.
Because what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts in terms of these perpetrators? Obviously, we talk about a bit of justice, or sometimes a bit of injustice. But because you said in terms of the family breaking up, if you were able to share this or disclose this to your family, and I've heard many stories. Oh, you bring shame to our family, all that kind of stuff. But what are your thoughts in terms of how we deal with this as a group and as a culture, as a people? Do you think it's just damaging? Why do you think we do that? Is it too much the whakamā, or?
I think it goes back into our wha'aloaloe and respect our elderly, which it make it even harder, for us to talk about it and actually bring it. But we also need probably our culture to think about the impact that will have into other people around later on in their life, and look at that, how important it is to let it know, and because even if the perpetrator come forward and we make the family can make peace off, or they get charged and things like that, so that will stop there. It will save, I don't know, the next generation and the next generation from it. So I think we probably, our culture needs to look at that rather than looking at, you're bringing shame and into our family. So I think, and I'm hoping our culture is really, really challenging to to talk about these things, and how can we make it okay for our kids to talk about it and accept them, or hear their story without feeling like he's a high chief, or maybe he's a priest, or maybe he's a minister. We don't have to. It's a challenge.
It's hard, It's
Yeah.
hard one.
Ever since you've started this line of work, have you seen a lot more Samoan men come forward? Not really.
Not really. I think there's another brother down in Taranaki. He's an ex rugby player as well. I think he moved here for contract. He's the only one that I know of that actually speak openly as well.
That's good.
And it was really nice. I went down to Taranaki and he shared his story down there with his mum in the room. And he just cried, his mum was crying. I was able to stand by him and then sing the song at the end. So I think it's only him, and then I'm working with I think there's another New Zealand born, Samoan New Zealand born, or two. So at the moment there's only 3 that I know of that actually come forward. Plus the brother Ray. I don't know if you guys remember Ray.
Are we allowed to talk about this thing? Sorry, Ray, if you haven't openly come out and
No, he's actually
Okay.
open. I done another
podcast with
podcast with him.
Oh,
Ray.
Oh, Ray, Marcella.
Yeah.
Yes, like a Ray. Yes. Awesome.
He was the one that actually
wow.
kind of encouraged me to come publicly and talk about it. It was Ray.
I don't know. So, man, I just imagine how tough it is to share your story, come out and
share your story.
But I think it's needed. Our poor young people, they have to carry a lot. Even our men that, you said it takes 20 to 40 years.
40 years.
Someone to come out and how, the struggle that you have to carry for all these years. And, man, just hopefully that someone out there that's listening, that you don't need to carry this, that they feel guilty, they feel judged, that you can, that you can take back control, because so thank you so for just sharing your story, man.
Lord love her. And you don't have to wait that long, eh? To 20, 40 years. Just deal with it.
I think that's what it is, and that's the goal now, is to be able to how can we cut that numbers down? Maybe some of them that's probably only just beginning of their journey to realize this is not all right. To actually come straight forward and find, just talk to us about it 101, and there is help out there for any of the brothers out there, that there is help out there, and it is confidentiality. It doesn't have to be really open. It's going to take quite a bit of a time until you actually come out and talk about it. Some of them they just don't want to talk about it at all. So yeah.
So someone can access support, get like the support, but they don't really have to share. It's all on their terms.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So they in our work, we've got a confidentiality form. Everything that they say, they stay with us. And any notes, it's only us that can see it.
Except for Ray, sorry, Ray.
Apart from that, the long term, hoping that for somebody that done the journey and then be able to come out and share the story, because it will help somebody to relate to their story and say, wow, I can actually do this as well. So
that's awesome.
Sorry, also in terms of like other organizations or peer support, is there many around New Zealand, or is only one main one? And like, how can men access the service?
Yeah, so there's, as I mentioned before, Male Survivors Aotearoa is a covenant body, and they have 11 under Male Survivors Aotearoa. There's one in Wellington, there's one in Canterbury, there's one in Dunedin, there's one in Waikato, and then us and Bay of Plenty. There's actually a Better Blokes here in Auckland. To reach out with them. There's a Samoan brother that actually worked there as well. And then there's one up in Whangarei, Gisborne, and then Hawke's Bay. That's so I think the easiest way, if they go onto Male Survivors Aotearoa, they'll be able to find the branches over there that they can reach out for means. I believe there's only us that actually working with male survivors of sexually abuse in New Zealand, apart from SAFE. That's the bigger organisation that actually get the call, and Tautoko Mai, I think there's one of them that take male and female, but for male it's only Male Survivors Aotearoa.
Amazing work, also. Amazing work.
Man, it kind of just makes me think about the importance of, like, it's cool that you moved from Auckland. There's a lot of our people in Auckland, and I think sometimes we get comfortable because we feel safety, in our community. But I think it sort of just raised an idea in my head about the importance of being able to, once we get to a certain point, to move out and, be part of the outreach, like move to some of the other places that maybe we have pockets of our people there, but maybe there's not enough support. And it's cool that you've gone to Tauranga and you're able to be sort of a beacon for our people down there. And it's just, you talked about modeling, being able to normalize conversations, and it's cool for you to also model how we can not only just heal from it, but we can move to other places outside of our community and still thrive and still support others who are going through. So I think that's awesome what you've done and what you've modeled for us. I think it's amazing. One of the thoughts that came to mind, actually, as you were talking about, because I remember seeing a video where you talked about that stat about 20 to 40 years to come forward, and it reminded me of the story about the dangers of a forgotten wedge. So when you chop down a tree, they would chop it with an axe, and then there's this wedge that they would hit into the tree, and that makes it easier for the tree to topple. And I remember hearing this story, I think it might have been from church actually, where this boy was helping his father chop down a tree. He put the wedge in there, and then something happened where he got called for dinner. So he left the wedge there, completely forgot about it. And he never ever removed the wedge. The tree continued to grow, and eventually the tree grew around it. But then one day a storm came, and typically trees of that size can withstand the storm.
Yeah.
But this tree, as big as it was, fell to the wind, and it was because that wedge was forgotten about and it was never removed. And it just, that story came to mind as you talked about the importance of finding healing and the journey of healing, as opposed to just forgetting that it ever happened. So thank
Definitely,
you for that.
100%. Like, you know, it's really, and that's what it is. You know, just encouraging. You know, don't leave it. You know, please don't leave it. You know, I'm really encouraging. You know, if it does come up in the memories that you know, it's the best thing to do is to talk to somebody that's, you know, you close to, disclose to somebody, because we're more likely we're going to forget about it and walk away and say, you know, it's okay. And that's exactly what you just said, you know.
I have a question about that too. Did you ever feel like there are times when people go through trauma and they want to forget about it so bad that they almost trick themselves into believing it never happened? And sometimes they might have things like dreams where it comes to them, but they're like, nah, that couldn't have happened, in denial. Did you ever go through a time like that where you're just like, nah, that couldn't have happened?
Oh,
You start to doubt?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, you kind of like trying to talk yourself out of it. Like, you know, nah, can't be. You know, and it's the time that I was really into the rugby, and I know, like, you know, I was thinking, no, this can't be. You know, I'm strong. You know, I can play. I also play with this guy that actually done it with, you know, done it to me, and I was thinking, no, this can't be happen. You know, no way. But yeah, and I guess I know it was, you know, I was doing it to make myself feel better in trying to not believe it, like it's actually happened. And I think my hope was, if I continue doing it, that will never affect me. But I think the one thing that it kept bringing it up to me was my kids, my girls. Yeah, that's when I was thinking, no, I can't continue doing this to myself, pretending that this didn't happen. Because if it happened to my girls, then I'll be, you know, I'll be really disappointed, or probably, you know, take my own life, you know, for not actually coming out and do it, you know, and do something about it. So again, that's an encouragement for our men out there, like, you know, please don't pretend that it didn't, or trying to talk yourself out of it. You know, some of the you know, our men says they do go through that journey. But, you know, it's think about, you know, what if it happened to your kids, or if you do have kids, you know, or one of the family members as well. So, thank you.
Yeah, well said also. Well said. Any last words, Charles?
Nah, I just admire your courage also and your strength. I did want to ask, how's your wife now?
She's doing really, really well. We've done she actually done a six weeks radiation before we moved down, so it's been a year. We done a first scan and done a first scan at the end of last year, being a 1 year of the radiation. So everything is going good. But she struggled with the headaches. So we're just praying, and as I reminding her that, you know, it's out of our control. You know, we're just gonna keep you comfortable and, you know, and enjoy our time. As we know, if we worry too much about it, it's going to impact her. It's going to impact me. It's going to impact our girls. So we're trying our best to keep her as, I guess, comfortable and happy.
Cool.
And do life.
My Lord.
Thank you.
No, yeah. We'll keep her in prayer also. And
Yeah, man.
again, yeah, I just wanted to thank you for your courage and your strength, and keep up the awesome work also. Afia will keep you in prayer, and just pray all the best for you and your family and your ainga and the work that you do. Malola.
Thank you.
And likewise with you, Paul. You know, I think Jamin hit it on the head. Your demeanour for someone who's gone through such a lot, you know, you still remain resilient. You're still strong. You're still here, and I love the fact that you're very positive, and so it brings a lot of inspiration to not only us but also to other men out there who may be going through the same issues. And so also thank you so much. But usually we give a gift to our guests. And this is a bit of a caricature, a bit of a cartoon for you. So this is for you on behalf of the Mandate team. Maro love also, that's for you.
Oh man.
Oh my day love.
Oh.
Te love also.
No, I just again just wanna thank you. Paftaile lo fomalanga leo le tua po I le longa leima langa kausinga alofa. Yeah. Wamfai fo yonga kako faso ngi kula fia. And you just give grace to the Lord, for the opportunity that we get to share and have this opportunity to share my journey. And we just hope, you guys are part of my journey now, of sharing if we able to help one of the brothers out there to find healing in their journey or come forward or seek help. That's all that matter really, isn't it? But yeah, apart from that, just pray to the Lord, to bless you guys, with what you guys do, and continue the journey, because, without these things, our stories wouldn't be able to go out. Thank you for allowing me to share the journey. Thank you.
Man, also, is there anyone you can think of that would be ideal to come on the podcast? Do you think they would be beneficial to come on the podcast?
In the same,
or anyone that you can think of? Anyone. It could be anyone that you can think of.
Maybe Ray.
I think that probably reach out to Ray and also the brother that you mentioned before.
Ati.
No. What's his name down in Christchurch?
Oh, Matt Brown.
Matt.
Oh yeah, Brown, Mateo Brown. Yes.
I'm hoping to catch up with him on Sunday. He's doing a event down in Rotorua.
Oh, cool.
I'm hoping to go down and meet him.
Awesome.
Yeah, maybe him. He's got an amazing story as well.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Man, awesome. Thank you once again. Also, Whaftai Lover. But guys, please subscribe, and also we look forward to your well thought out comments. And as usual, brothers,
refine,
unlock, and take charge.
Mandate.